The Carpenters, composed of siblings Karen and Richard Carpenter, formed their iconic band in 1969. Initially, they started as a jazz trio with their friend Wes Jacobs, but their transition to pop music set the stage for their future success. The group's first performances were quite low-key, with Richard often joking that their only audience was their mom and their neighbor's cat. When they signed their first record deal, their manager accidentally misspelled their name as The Carpenters, a mistake that still makes fans chuckle to this day. In the early days, Karen, known for her angelic voice, started as a drummer and had no intention of becoming the lead singer. In fact, she was so shy about her voice that Richard had to trick her into singing on their demo tracks. Richard later joked that Karen's voice was the band's best-kept secret, which fortunately didn't stay a secret for long. Their early sound was influenced by Richard's love for harmonies, but Karen's vocals were always the highlight, even when she tried to hide behind her drum kit. Their first hit single, They Long to Be Close to You, almost didn't happen because Karen initially hated the song. After Richard convinced her to give it a shot, the duo recorded it in just a few takes. Richard later joked that Karen didn't hate the song so much after it went gold. The Carpenters' journey to fame was anything but ordinary. Karen's drumming skills, combined with her extraordinary voice, set them apart from other bands during that era. Karen even used to joke that her drumsticks were her best backup singers. The Carpenters' sound was often described as soft rock, which led some critics to dismiss their music as too easy listening. Richard, however, liked to joke that their music was softer than a pillow but harder to write. Despite their easy sound, their early recording sessions were tough on Karen, who would often bring snacks for the entire studio as a peace offering for any bad takes. Their early success was also marked by humorous moments, like the time they were mistakenly introduced at a concert as the Carpenters and Joiners Union. By the mid-1970s, the Carpenters were at the peak of their fame, and their song We've Only Just Begun became a wedding favorite around the world. The song was so popular that Richard quipped he should have become a wedding planner on the side. During one performance, Karen was introduced as the voice of angels, to which she humorously responded, "Well, I hope I don't make them cry today." Their live shows were packed, but backstage they kept things light with endless games of cards and the occasional prank. Their song, Top of the World, became an international hit, but Richard joked that it felt like they were more at the middle of the mountain because of the pressure to keep producing hits. At one of their concerts, Karen accidentally dropped her drumsticks mid-song, but managed to catch them on the next beat, turning the blunder into a comedic highlight of the show. The fans loved it, and Karen later joked that it was her secret audition to join a juggling act. During the height of their fame, Karen and Richard were known for their wholesome image, but Karen had a secret obsession with rock music. She once joked that her ultimate dream was to join Led Zeppelin, even though her band's style was a far cry from heavy metal. Another funny moment came when the band was asked to perform at a prestigious event, and the organizers mistakenly thought they were a classical string quartet due to their name. Karen laughed it off, saying they were much better with guitars than violins. One of their most famous albums, Now and Then, featured a medley of 1960s hits, but Richard always joked that the album should have been called Then and Then because of their love for classic music. During a recording session for the album, Karen's chair collapsed under her, but she didn't miss a beat, continuing to sing while sitting on the floor. It became a running joke in the studio that they needed Karen-proof chairs from then on. Their success was almost overshadowed by Karen's shyness, as she preferred staying out of the spotlight despite being the lead vocalist. Once, during an award show, she nervously asked Richard if he could accept the award on her behalf while she hid behind the curtains. Richard agreed, but only if Karen would promise to play the tambourine during their next live show as a joke. Karen Carpenter was born in 1950 in New Haven, Connecticut, and grew up in Downey, California. She was shy and reserved, but she loved to make people laugh, especially with her sharp sense of humor. As a child, she would often imitate famous comedians, and she once joked that if music didn't work out, she'd become a stand-up comic. Karen's humor was well known among friends and family, and she could always lighten the mood in tense situations, especially during stressful recording sessions. Richard Carpenter, born in 1946, was the musical mastermind behind the band's sound, but he wasn't without his quirks. His obsession with perfection in the studio became a running joke among his bandmates, who often teased him about spending hours tweaking a single note. Richard was also known for his dry sense of humor and loved pulling pranks on his sister during rehearsals, like changing the tempo of a song mid-performance to see if Karen could keep up. As the Carpenters rose to fame, their lives became increasingly hectic, but they always found time for laughter. Karen once joked that their tour bus was like a rolling comedy club, with her and Richard constantly trying to out-joke each other. Despite their tight schedules, the siblings remained close, and their bond was evident both on and off the stage. Sadly, Karen's life was cut short in 1983 due to complications from anorexia, a struggle she kept hidden behind her radiant smile. Even in her final days, she maintained her sense of humor, once telling a nurse that she hoped heaven had better drum sets than earth. Karen's death was a heartbreaking loss to the music world, but her humor and spirit continue to live on through her music. Richard Carpenter continues to honor Karen's legacy, and while his life has been marked by the loss of his sister, he carries on with the same lighthearted approach that they shared. In interviews, Richard often reflects on their humorous moments, ensuring that the world remembers not only Karen's incredible voice, but also her infectious laughter.